Have you ever felt so ill that you or someone else takes you into the doctor? You wonder if you will ever feel better again, but you could have possibly stopped this sickness from even happening. One of the most controversial topics in modern day society is whether parents should have to vaccinate their children. But first, the question is, what does a vaccine even do for someone? A vaccine works by training your immune system how to recognize and fight off pathogens. This is done by the vaccine, which inserts certain molecules from the pathogen to trigger someone's immune system. Because of vaccines, diseases such as polio, measles, diphtheria, mumps, and whooping cough can be prevented. Because of vaccines, smallpox, which is considered to be one of the worst diseases in history, no longer exists outside of a controlled laboratory. The more people that get vaccinated, the fewer the opportunities a disease is able to spread from person to person. The benefits of getting vaccinated outweigh the risk of death or serious complications. Vaccines are the best way for diseases to be prevented from becoming an epidemic or, in the worst case, a pandemic. Being vaccinated should be required to attend any public event such as concerts or schools. Today I'm going to explain to you why being vaccinated is essential for public gatherings such as concerts and schools. Through this, I will first start by explaining how vaccines train our immune system to fight off pathogens. Then I will also go into detail about dangerous diseases that can be prevented by vaccines. Finally, I'm going to show how diseases have a lower chance to spread from person to person through everyone being vaccinated. To start, I'm going to explain how vaccines work and how they train our immune systems to recognize and fight off pathogens. Vaccines contain the same antigen that cause the disease, but they are killed or weakened so they can't actually cause disease. Nonetheless, the antigens are strong enough to make the immune system produce antibodies that fight off the antigens. Immunity is the body's way of fighting off disease. Everyone is born with an immune system that consists of cells, glands, organs, and fluids that are located throughout the body. Your immune system recognizes germs seen as foreign invaders called antigens, which then triggers the immune system's response to produce proteins called antibodies to fight them off. The first time the immune system is exposed to foreign antigens, it can't work fast enough to fight off the antigen, causing us to get sick. However, when the immune system sees the antigen again, it remembers that antigen and will produce antibodies fast enough to keep it from spreading throughout the body. This process is called immunity. According to the Public Health Organization, if the bacteria or virus reappears, the immune system will recognize the antigens immediately and attack aggressively well before the pathogen can spread and cause sickness. Now that we know how vaccines work with our immune systems, I'm going to explain how dangerous diseases can be prevented by vaccines. The population of Oaks, North Dakota, according to Oaks' city database, is 1,982 people. Half the population of Oaks are ages 50 to 98, and 7% are babies ages up to 3 years old. Both of these groups of people have weak immune systems that can make them very vulnerable to viruses and diseases such as influenza, measles, polio, and whooping cough. Before vaccines, a large number of children died from the disease that vaccines can now prevent. One example being polio. The IPV polio vaccine is the only polio vaccine given in the United States and is given through a shot in the arm or leg. The polio vaccine has been administered in the United States for almost 40 years. Since then, the number of polio cases in the United States have been inexplainable. When a family refuses all childhood vaccines, it puts providers in a challenging position. Michigan Public Health Lab says that children that don't get their scheduled vaccines pose a risk of transmitting diseases to other patients. This can be extremely dangerous for vulnerable populations, including infants, pregnant women, elderly patients, and patients with weakened immune systems. Because of one person that didn't get their scheduled vaccines, multiple people can be at risk for a harmful disease that could have been prevented by a vaccine. Vaccines are essential to prevent diseases from spreading from person to person. People that aren't vaccinated can cause a virus to cause an outbreak before we know it. I interviewed Dr. Tara Schmitz, who is a pharmacist in Oaks, North Dakota. She is registered to give vaccines to her patients and can help explain to the public why they are essential in a public setting. I asked Dr. Schmitz, what are the potential side effects of not being vaccinated when diseases are going around? Her response was, currently the amount of anti-vaxxers rely on herd immunity. Because 80 to 90% of the community is vaccinated, the other 10% aren't getting sick because of the other 90% are being vaccinated for their illness. As the amount of people that don't get vaccinated increase, the spread of life-threatening illnesses increases. That's why we are seeing an outbreak of measles or whooping cough, which are diseases we have eliminated from the past. However, Dr. Schmitz did also describe how vaccines are made to help our body defend against illnesses and not prevent them from ever entering our body. She gave one example of a 32-year-old patient of hers with diabetes who got the influenza shot last year and ended up getting influenza but was able to recover from it within a week. This year, the patient decided to not get the influenza shot and is sadly on a ventilator fighting off influenza. I asked Dr. Schmitz, how important would you say it is to be vaccinated, especially when you are planning on attending a public event or school? Her response was, when you are in groups of large people, you have no idea what disease or illness that person may be carrying. Most illnesses are spread by contact or infected surfaces to another person's hand and thus into their mouth or nose or eyes. By getting vaccinated, you are ensuring that your immune system is ready for whatever illnesses may be at the large institute or public function. By vaccinating when you are younger, you are teaching your immune system how to react and will make you a healthier person. My main advertisement for my pharmacy is that if you are getting vaccinated, do it for yourself and do it for the little babies that can't get vaccinated. To sum up what we have covered today, vaccines play a key role in the prevention of widespread illnesses. Without them, our bodies wouldn't be able to grow immunity for the different strains of illnesses. Vaccines are a way for our body to fight off illnesses that we couldn't have before without them. Dangerous diseases that are very contagious are now able to be prevented because of vaccines. However, diseases like polio, influenza, and measles can be harmful if one person doesn't get their vaccinations and attends a public event with other people. Putting the health of others at risk because you aren't vaccinated should not be allowed. Having a doctor's report showing that a person is not going to put themselves and others around them at risk because they are vaccinated can save hundreds of lives. Talk to your local and national representatives and congressmen to make it impossible to attend public events without being vaccinated. One bill or law can prevent a disease from killing hundreds of people.